Gavin, what's up, man? I'm
What's
ready.
going on?
I'm happy to have you on here. How would you introduce yourself for someone who maybe doesn't know you?
Yeah, so my name's Gavin Eunice. People kind of mispronounce my last name a lot, so it's Eunice, not Yunes or anything like that. I'm 18 years old. I'm a fitness coach from like Massachusetts, United States, and I've been into fitness for like around 4 years now. And I wanted to share my passion onto others because I saw the change in my life through it, just like in the way that I carried myself and the way that I felt. And what is there better to do than teaching somebody how you changed your life and passing that on to somebody else?
Hell yeah, man! I didn't know you were 18. You're just a year younger, year older than me.
Dang, you're 17? No way.
Yeah, I'm still 17. Turning 18 in April next month.
Nice.
So, let's start from the beginning. What was your childhood like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was in a lot of sports. That's pretty much, sports, video games, and just like hanging out with friends. Pretty like, uh, you know, typical Massachusetts kid, kind of, playing hockey and soccer and things like that. But I was always playing sports year round, going to the beach, going to the pool a lot, playing video games, as like Fortnite it was one of the
Yeah.
huge things. It's still a thing to this day, but that really took a lot of my time as well as just like sports and hanging out with friends. But yeah, wasn't really into the gym. Kind of in and out of, or I don't know if this is a next question, but like kind of in and out of the gym all the time, and never really got consistent, especially like in my childhood.
Mm. Who did you look up to when you were growing up?
I was looking up to my parents for sure. My dad, he's very focused on morals and treating people with respect. So, when we would go out to a restaurant or something like that, he would make me order my food, for everybody as, a 10-year old or whatever. And I know that a lot of parents are like, oh, like, we can just do that for you. But he wanted us to be very focused on, shaking somebody's hand, looking them in the eye, treating somebody with respect. So I looked up to my dad a lot just in the way that he carried himself, in the way that he treated other people. And then, obviously here and there, being in Gen Z, looking up to some like YouTubers and whatnot around the time. I feel like everybody can, some way or another look up to like, Mr. Beast because he just makes videos for a living. I know that everybody like thinks he doesn't work hard and then he just makes videos all day, but I feel like, various YouTubers just here and there just because of their entrepreneurial background, like, not working at a, people think they like not working at a desk and just, having fun all
Mm.
the time and not working for a boss. So,
Yeah,
or
dude. As
being
soon
their
as you
own
start
boss
content creation, you realize that this is a fucking more than a full time job. You don't work 8 hours a day. You work all fucking day.
all
You
day, man.
yeah, yeah, dude. And it's like it's fulfilling, but yeah, it gets very tiring. There's a lot of shit you don't want to do, but it needs to get done, And it's like
That's,
when you're in school or in 9 to 5, 9 to 5, and then you can turn off. You can do whatever you want. Here,
yeah,
it's like as soon as something comes up, as soon as somebody needs something, you got to get it done.
absolutely. And that's why enjoying the process is so important. Like, if you don't like, I have people all the time ask me like, oh, Gavin, like, how do I get into this space? I'm like, dude, if you don't enjoy every single second of it, I wouldn't even bother.
Mm, yeah, man, 100%. It's like even making the first dollar online is just it's a moment that you're never gonna forget. You know.
Oh man, I have a video that I took of myself like right after I got my first um, client signed for my online fitness coaching,
Mm.
and oh my god, I was going absolutely crazy. So yeah, you're so
Yeah,
right.
man. Yeah, bro. Holy shit. All right, so let's get into the fitness side now. Or we can go all over the place. But when did you first get into the gym?
So I got into the gym when I was probably around 12 years old, 11 years old. I was because I was had such a background with sports. My older brother, who's 2 years older than me, I'd always look up to him, because he was working out specifically for hockey. Like as he got into high school and, he wanted to be like the bigger kids than him, he was getting into the gym specifically for sports. And me and my older brother, we'd go with this in person personal trainer across town. And when I was like 11 and 12 years old, I was in and out, absolutely hated it, saw no results, didn't listen to music in the gym, didn't make my workouts fun. So I was very like inconsistent when I was like 11 and 12 years old. And then I just ended up quitting. And I started being consistent when I was like 14 years old.
Mm. I think that a lot of people don't start in the first place is because they think that they have to do so much, right? Because when I started when I was like 15, right? It's gonna be
Yeah.
soon the 3 years since I started going to the gym. But the thing is, when I started, I was still eating like shit, etc. But I was training like fucking 6 to 7 days a week because I couldn't wait to hit a workout, right? In the first few months, most people quit within the first month, 2 or 3. But the
Yeah.
first 3 months, bro, I was having fun. I was eating whatever I wanted to, but couldn't wait to go to the gym. I was making friends, right? I was going there for the friends from middle and high school,
Yeah.
and most people make it so much friction in the beginning that they don't want to start. Think that they have to eat fucking rice and chicken and fucking eat a restricted diet if you want. But in the beginning, you can breathe in the gym and you're gonna have some newbie gains, right?
Absolutely.
Like in the beginning, just make it a habit first, and then worry about the more detailed stuff, right? But right now,
Yeah.
you have to get into a habit where you're not gonna quit. So my question was, why do you think people quit after the first few months?
It's because they're too strict with themselves. They're way too strict with themselves. Like when I talk to somebody and it's their first time ever in the gym or ever, being consistent with steps or just any sort of dieting at all, I don't believe in meal plans. I don't believe in
Mm,
specific like regiments when it comes to like meals. But people quit because they don't enjoy it, the process. Like this is fitness we're talking about. This is changing your life we're talking about. If you don't, see results and you're not saying to yourself like, what would be the point in quitting right now? Like a lot of the guys that I work with, they see so much results to the point to where they're just like, it would be stupid. I had a guy the other day, he's telling me like, it would be stupid for me to quit right now because I'm seeing so much results. I'm having so much fun doing
yeah,
what I'm doing. And if you're, seeing results is fun. And if you're not seeing results, like you kind of said with newbie gains, if you're not seeing results in a short amount of time of some sort, physically or mentally, you're doing something wrong.
mm. Yeah, and that's also why it's way harder in business rather than in fitness. Because in fitness, you'll
Absolutely.
see results within the first half a year. In business, bro, you can do something for a year and you will not make more than $1,000, right? You will not see results for a long time, and everybody's gonna tell you it's not worth it. Everybody's gonna tell you you're wasting your time. Go to college.
Yeah.
But within 5 years, you might end up making 10, 20, 30K a month and even more, right?
So
But it takes. Hmm, go
I
ahead.
um I posted for 2 years on social media before I made it a single dollar. And it took me over a year and a half, I would say, to hit 1,000
Mm,
followers. Like I was looking at this guy's page the other day. I followed him to start. He said a few nice things to me. I'm like, hey man, I respect that. So I dropped him a follow back. The guy was at like 15, 10 followers when I followed him first. I look at the guy's page a week later. He's at 1,000 followers. I'm like, Jesus, man, that's crazy.
mm.
It took me a year and a half. So I'm like, dang, what did this guy do to be able to do that? So, I mean, going back to what you were saying, it's it can take a very very long time for some people like myself, but that shows the value in it.
Yeah,
I'm very
the,
religious in
uh,
what I
me
do,
too.
and you know it says in the Bible a lot that short term, dopamine and short term gratification and getting things right away and, making the quick money right away is the worst thing that you can ever do, because you don't become the man that's actually worth that money. You don't become the man that's worth what you're actually becoming. So by the time I reached 1,000 followers, every single one of those 1,000 followers were all worth it. They were all good followers. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's why a lot of lottery winners, 90% of them, lose the money because they never build the identity of the person.
yep,
They're just a broke guy with a lot of money. And one thing I wanted to say is that fitness and business, the charts are completely different. In fitness, it's like, I don't know, what do you call this? It's not, it's exponential. Do you call this? Like, it grows consistently, right?
yeah,
You go to the gym, and each year you're more and more jacked. Um, in business, it's not. It's like you see no progress, and then one day something explodes, right? It's like
yeah,
completely different worlds.
yeah,
And so that's why, in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a little more delusional and a little bit like to believe in something that you're not seeing results in, and just believe in it and do something without a reward.
yeah,
And that's why entrepreneurship, in my opinion, from my experience, is way harder than fitness, especially when
one
it's
hundred
even
percent.
less fun in a lot of stuff. As soon as you start making some money, it becomes fun. But until that point, bro, it doesn't feel real. Even the idea
It
of it.
it sucks. Like I'm not gonna lie, and that's why I said before, if you just every single day, if you don't, love making videos, if you don't love what you're getting into, if you don't love every second of it, like it's very, very, very difficult. It's very
Mm,
difficult to see yourself doing it, 5 years from now. I see myself doing, online fitness or, business entrepreneurship of some sort. I see myself doing this for the rest of my life.
yeah,
Maybe not, if I'm being 100% honest, maybe not fitness, but I can guarantee that I see myself doing fitness for at least another couple of years if I'm just being like 100%
yeah.
honest.
5 years from now, it's gonna be crazy how there's gonna be montage of this clip, and then where you're gonna be at in 5 years from now, man. That's gonna be
Oh
cool
yeah.
as fuck to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of fitness, when you started going to the gym, right? What were like your biggest mistakes in the beginning? Because we've all made a tons of mistakes. But if you could go back and tell yourself something, some advice in terms of fitness, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So I started, like I said, 14 years old. I was around 6'1", 115 to 120 pounds, which is not, that's very, very, very skinny. I do
Mm,
not necessarily, I kind of like to talk about this in my content just because kind of, you can relate to people. I don't have good genetics by any means. You know about like, muscle building genetics and whatnot, right? I don't necessarily have good genetics. I have narrow clavicles. I'm very skinny. I don't have good like muscle insertions or whatever. So I really just try to, make that come across that like you can do it if you truly commit yourself to it. But the biggest mistakes that I made, I wish I properly bulked sooner. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made was I bulked way too quick. So I went from like 120 pounds to around 170 pounds in like 1 year or like 9 months. So I gained way too much weight way too quick. That's what I did. I was so focused on putting so much weight on the bar and so much weight on the scale that I wasn't paying any attention to how I actually felt, how I actually carried myself. So I went from 120 to 170, and then I went from like 160 to like 200. And all these, I just bulked way too quick. I put on way too much body fat way too quick. And that really comes into where, like, that's the whole purpose of my coaching. You know, there's so many people that are so focused on putting so much, weight on the bar, going to the gym, building so much muscle that they don't even listen to how they actually feel. They don't care about how they actually feel on a daily basis. So the biggest mistake was that I was so focused on building muscle and getting bigger that I wasn't focused on how I felt.
All right, so we left off at your beginnings in the gym, and I remember you mentioned that you weighed 120 pounds. I converted into kilos. That's 54 kilos. God damn it, bro. You were
Yeah,
skinny as hell, bro. That's holy shit.
and I was tall too, so
How
I was
how
a
much?
big.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1". I don't know that in centimeters.
That's like 185 centimeters. Yeah, or like I'm 6 feet or like 5'11", something like that. So yeah, you're a tall guy, man. So when you started going to the gym, did you have like a coach or an experienced friend or anything like that? Did you make friends in the gym?
Yeah, so I had, like I kind of said before, I was with my older brother with an in-person personal trainer for a little while. That was inconsistent. I remember though, back then when I was probably 11 or 12 years old, he was like, Gavin, why do you ask me so many questions? Like, why every time we work out, why do you say, oh, how do you do this? How do you do this? What's the perfect form on this? He's like, I know why. It's because you love this. And I didn't know that I loved it at that time. I didn't
Mm,
know that that really truly was where my passion was. But over the course of that time, as I was like 14, 15, 16, I pretty much got all my information from YouTube. Pretty much everything
mm,
from YouTube and online. And, I had one more in person personal trainer as well. So I've had two personal trainers, and I just, I never liked them. And it really is truly crazy what you can actually learn on YouTube and what you can learn from social
yeah.
media if you stop. A lot of these kids that I see, and just a lot of guys in general, they're, For You page and reels and stuff. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Can I swear? But it's like it's just a bunch of
Yeah, absolutely.
nothing. Like everything that they scroll
Yeah.
is just funny videos and things that just don't matter. If I'm being 100% honest, but for
Mm,
me, it was always, how can I get better? How can I learn more? How can I watch long form YouTube to learn more about nutrition and more about meals and more about dieting and more about how I can optimize everything myself the most, and how I could, because when I was like 16 years old, 15 years old, I know for a fact when I was 16 I could squat 200, no 180 kilos, and
holy shit.
I could deadlift like 200 or 210 kilos. Um, yeah, about that. And I didn't know any, like, there's no way that I could have learned that from anybody at the gym. There's no way that I could learn that from like an in-person trainer that wasn't specifically for, powerlifting and lifting certain weights. So I learned all of it online from YouTube. I was just looking up these different things and actually going forward with it and implementing it. Like I said, all these kids, they watch just a bunch of BS. I put my time into becoming the best version of myself and getting the information to become a better version of myself. And I believe that that's why I have the knowledge that I do.
Mm. Yeah, I remember when I started. In terms of food, first of all, I would say that it takes around 1 year to learn how to eat. If you're like researching it,
Yeah.
etc., to
Yeah.
learn about nutrition, it takes like your first 1 year, etc. Um, I'm gonna go back to food soon enough, but I remember when I started going to the gym. My first 2 years, I was trying to be a powerlifter, etc. I even competed once, but I didn't have any like above average weights. But I remember there was this one guy at my gym. He was been training for like 15 years, right? But he weighed like 90 kilos, which is like 200 pounds, and he
Yeah.
was lifting 410 kilos at deadlift,
Ho,
which
ho, ho,
is
ho.
like
Wow.
850 pounds, something like that, maybe
Yeah.
900 pounds. I'm not sure. So 90 kilo dude lifted 410. I was like, holy shit. He holds the Czech record, right? Central European record.
Wow.
So I had that guy in my gym, bro, and
Wow.
I was like, I gotta make friends with him. I gotta speak to him, bro, somehow. And he always like had. He was the social guy at the gym. Everybody knew him, right? And one time, bro, I started speaking with him. I was so nervous, like he was a celebrity or something, right? And I was like, bro, I I asked him for some diet advice, and he was like, "Well, bro, I just eat what I want," and I was like, "Well, that was really helpful." I was thinking like he has some fucking secret. The dude just
Yeah.
has. He said it to me like asked me like what's his secret. He said, "To be honest, man, it's gonna sound unfair, but it's mostly genetics for powerlifting." And I was like, "Really?" He was like, "I
Yep.
eat McDonald's, bro. I eat whatever the fuck I want. I train 6 days a week. Like I don't really take that much rest. Like I just train, you know, for powerlifting, right? So like squatting with pauses and all of that." And I was like, "Holy shit, dude! Like how important are genetics in your opinion?" Because the dude holds the national record, and he doesn't like he doesn't track anything. And I was like, What the fuck, bro?"
It's crazy. He definitely tracks his workouts though. I bet his workouts are like very,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. He definitely tracks his like workout routines, etc., with pause, deadlifts, with hyperextensions, all of those exercises. But he sometimes trains. He said that he sometimes trains even 7 days a week, even though he should take
Dang.
rest. He's like the amount of training and the diet he doesn't track. And I was like, the guy is jacked, and the guy is the strongest in the country. I'm like, holy shit. But how important are genetics in your opinion?
So I believe genetics for the things that don't matter are very important. In my opinion, for 99% of people and most people watching this, genetics don't really matter. Like how much muscle you build, how strong you are, that doesn't really matter in my opinion. Yes, it's cool. Yes, it's awesome to go for. And when people first get in the gym, especially teenagers, they go in the gym because they want to get bigger. But why do they want to get bigger? They want to get bigger so they feel more confident in themselves. So they have more energy in themselves. And that's why at the end of the day,
Mm,
for myself, given someone that, doesn't have the best genetics, I have decent genetics for powerlifting and whatnot, but I just believe that it doesn't really matter. Like, because anybody can get abs, right? Anybody who enters the gym, anybody who focuses on dieting, as a human being, you have the genetic capability to build muscle
mm.
and get abs. You don't need to
That's
be a 230-pound bodybuilder to see results and be happy with yourself. So I believe that there is no genetic cap, or there is no genetic like thing that is holding you back the same as it does for, building muscle and how strong you are, for how you actually feel by going to the gym and by working on yourself.
mm. Yeah, dude. Like genetics, I never understood the people that give up just because of that. Maximize what you got, man. Honestly, and bro, there are Indians there, Jack. Not to sound racist, but I mean, bro, like they have the worst genetics for muscle building and stuff like that, especially with their diets, their national diets. And the
Yeah.
guys, they're really Indian bodybuilders, Somalian bodybuilders. I see a lot of Somalians say that, bro, Somalians have the worst genetics. They're Somalian bodybuilders, bro. So like,
Yeah.
don't. Is there someone that's similar to you that has a good physique? Yes, it's possible. Is
Yeah.
there someone from the same country as you that's successful? Yes, it's possible.
Yeah.
And
100%.
bro, even if it's not at their level, do you still want to remain where you're at, or do you at least want to maximize what you got? You know?
Absolutely. Like that's why I
And
care
I
about becoming the best version of myself. I don't
hell yeah.
care. I don't, that's what maturing is realizing. Maturing is realizing that yes, as a younger fella, it's cool to compare yourself to other people for motivation. Whoever says that you can't compare yourself to other people, it's
Mm,
it's not necessarily true, because it's showing you what's possible as a human being. Now, I'm not saying
yep.
you actually have to get there, because I can tell there's a 0.0001% chance that I'm ever going to deadlift 850 or 900 pounds. Maybe it's possible because my deadlift is good, but like, it just, at the end of the day, for me, it just doesn't matter. Like, I care way more
Hey
about
man, you're
feeling.
you're already halfway there, and you're only 18, bro.
And that was when I was 16 as well.
Holy shit, dude! Yeah, yeah, man. And also, I don't like people taking gear after like, if you, bro, at least 10 years in. Put in 10 years. Dudes be going to the gym 3 years and they put in gear. and they haven't even maximized, like, or seen their natural potential. What do you think
Yeah.
about taking gear too early?
I just don't think that people should take gear at all, unless it's for like medical reasons or it's to be a bodybuilder. Because the only reason why somebody wants to take gear, I've talked to a bunch of guys who have taken gear. I talked to a bunch of guys who have been taking gear for years. And every single time, it's they're lacking something in their life, whether it's progress in the gym, whether it's finances, whether it's confidence in themselves. I
Mm.
guarantee you that if you can get through all of those and all of those are optimized, I don't mean to like show off, but like I'm like happy with how far I've come for those things.
Mhm.
I by no means want to take gear, right? Because the only reason why somebody's going to want to take gear is because they're lacking one of those things. Like if you don't like who you are so much to the point to how after 10 years of lifting, you are still insecure in yourself, something is wrong in your life. Like you're doing
Mm.
something wrong, whether it's training, dieting, whatever. I believe that as a human being, you shouldn't have to take an external substance because the only reason why they want to take the external substance, it's just like alcohol, it's just like smoking weed. The only reason why they want to take the external substance is to feel a certain way, to escape of how they're feeling right now, of how they
Well,
truly feel the whole time. When you take something like gear, it's removing that insecurity by being bigger at the snap of your fingers to escape the insecurity that they've been feeling their whole life for their past mistakes.
I think I'll disagree with you on that one because honestly, some people have the dream of being professional bodybuilders. Somebody's dream is being a Mr. Olympia,
Yeah,
and you kind of get there naturally.
yeah,
And I do believe that for the right person that's mature and is doing it professionally, it makes sense. But I do think that, yeah, as you said, a lot of people are lacking something. They're trying to fill up the void with gear, with uh, alcohol, with sleeping with bad women, whatever bad thing they do to get instant dopamine. I do
yeah,
agree with that. Do you know the guy Togi? And
yeah.
yeah, bro. Togi and Zerka. Do you know also John Zerka?
No, I don't.
Okay, anyways, bro, Togi is a perfect example, dude. Like Togi, man, he's on everything, right?
Yeah.
He he's not just taking gear; he's taking every single drug in the world, bro. And it's
Crazy,
like
man.
that dude, like he's having fun. He's 21 or something. He almost died already because of the amounts of gear that he's been taking. He hadn't been in the
Damn,
hospital. I'm
really?
not sure for what it was. Yeah, it was pretty big on Twitter and on Instagram too. Um, but he's a perfect example, man, because he's gambling. He's taking Xanax. He's taking fucking shit ton of steroids. I'm not sure exactly what he's on, but what will that end up in his 30s? Right? How will he be looking at himself right now, his
Oh, yeah.
future self? And when you can disassociate your future self, current self, and past self, you will start doing decisions for your future self, and you will start forgive your past self.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, you'll see yourself making better decisions as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
So, in terms of gear, I yeah, if you're not been at least if there's not a solid reason, like a big dream, like big aspirations or ambitions that you actually sure you want to do this for the rest of your life, I don't really think that it makes sense. Now, okay,
So,
if you're physically disposed for it, if your body can handle it, your doctor approved it, and you actually want to compete, and you actually want to use it towards your goals, I'd say, man, if you put in at least like 5 to 10 years, it may make sense for the right person.
yeah, it's just at the end of the day, I just don't believe because everybody knows, if you talk to really anybody and you mention steroids, it's like, oh, like steroids. It's not the same thing as like, oh, taking Advil. It's because it's this kind of outside thing. But
Yeah.
I believe that if you don't have like a clear cut path, you know exactly what and why you're doing it. And, like you said, like your future self, say 5, 10 years down the road, if you know, like, I'm going to be satisfied with this decision 5 to 10 years down the road. If you're not satisfied with your decision, like, I believe that Like
Mhm.
there is no point, and
Yeah.
you're having that something else that's bothering you in your life.
And I'll also say, man, that until like 22, 3, 4, bro, you're changing your mind so many times. You're finding out who you really are. Bro, I don't think that it's really wise until like, at least your early to mid 20s, And
Yeah,
especially your body, you hit your peak testosterone at like 25 to 33, I believe, something like that. Like it depends, man. It depends. Some people really want to hit it in their peak. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, now if a bodybuilder or somebody has been training their whole life and they want to start taking gear at like 45, that kind of makes sense already. Okay, but again, a dude like that's 18, I don't think that makes sense a lot of the times.
no, not at all.
So, in terms of diet and training, how much percent you would say it's diet and how much it's training? Like 50-50, 60-70, 80-20? Like how would you say it is?
That's a tough one. That's really a tough one, just because it
Yeah.
kind of does depend on your genetics. Um, I mean, I want to say it's like, because what I truly care about, and like I've been saying, it's how I feel. I care about feeling energized, and I care about like accepting myself in my own skin, because I know that if I'm not in the gym, if I'm not consistent on my diet, I don't feel those two things. I don't feel like myself. And that's the whole point of my coaching, really. Like I've been saying, it's just like kind of passing that
Mhm.
on to other people. But to get to your question, I would say it's 70% diet, 30% training. Just because, I mean, you're never ever going to talk to somebody ever who has their diet in check so much to the point to where, like myself, no processed food. Only foods with like
Yeah.
less than like 5 to 10 ingredients that are like very, very, very healthy.
Mhm.
If you have your diet so in check and your calories so in check, you're not going to be obese. You're going to look good and you're going to feel good. And the other 30%, I may even go less than 30% for the training, but I'll stick with it for now. If you're consistent with your steps, if you're consistent in the gym, if you're going hard in the gym, it's not complicated. A lot of the
Yeah.
people that I work with, I'm just like, dude, show up to the gym, or, get a very simple home workout for yourself, like 2 days a week, 3 days a week. And if you're doing that correctly and you have proper intensity, you can build, like I looked this up the other day, you can build anywhere from, I think it was like 10 to 25 pounds of muscle working out 2 days a week at home for 6 months. 25, 25 pounds of muscle. That's a lot of muscle in 6 months.
Mhm.
Um,
It's a
but
lot.
I'd go like 70-30 or so.
I think I'd also go like 70-30. Like, I had some people say that it's like fucking 90-10, and I think that's a little bit too much of a stretch. But I will say that I've tried all different types of diets, and I've tried. Also, I will say that not one singular diet works for everybody. Like, a lot
Yeah.
of things don't work for some people.
Yeah.
I've tried, for example, the carnivore diet. Right, when I was cutting last year, I lost 40 pounds, something like that.
Oh, dang.
Right, in like 5 months. And
There we
the
go.
carnivore diet worked for me because I liked eating beef and chicken. I don't eat pork, but and I genuinely like. Sometimes I would have eggs like once a week, and that would be about it. And no salads, no rice, no potatoes, no fruits, nothing else. Literally, just meat and eggs for like a few months. Until then, I started adding in nuts and cheese. But for the first 2 months, I was just plain meat. But some people just can't do that, right? I couldn't do the vegan diet. I'm a carnivore at heart. I eat meat every single day. I eat animal products every. I'd say that I eat 80% animal products, right? But some people just don't, and it doesn't work for everybody. That's why a lot of the stereotypes for people that haven't gone to the gym yet is that they need to eat rice and whatever. Um, Not
Yeah.
necessarily. You can find a diet that works for you. And since I mentioned already the vegan and the carnivore diet, what do you think about the vegan and the carnivore diet? If you had to choose one, which one would you pick? And what's like the down pros and cons for both?
So carnivore, I mean, as you can imagine, is, or no, I'll answer the other one first. Carnivore is way better than vegan. Way better. I don't care what you
Yeah.
say about oh, the protein, the carb, like the fat. You can hit your macros, whatever. You can hit your calories. I don't believe in specific tracking, but in terms of micronutrient intake, okay, a piece of meat, like a piece of steak, has over 42,000 components. I think 42,000 components, and
Yeah.
there's no shot you can get those from like a fake chicken. You know, if you look on a label of a ground turkey, I saw it the other day. It's like Impossible Turkey or whatever, and it was the slab of whatever meat. There's dozens of ingredients in that. I'm like, what? If you look on an actual turkey, it's like one ingredient. We have
Yeah.
turkey
The,
in the
yeah.
turkey. So yeah, so 100% carnivore is better just because of like again what I focus on, energy and the way that I feel. You're not going to be able to feel at your most optimum level by eating something that our ancestors were not eating.
Mm.
Like if it wasn't, this is how I like to think of it. 99% of the time, at least for myself, 99.9% of the time, if this was not available to us a couple hundred years ago, don't even think about eating it because it's not going to get you
Yep.
closer to your goals in terms of how you feel. But the pros of carnivore, obviously, protein, you're going to be hitting your protein very, very
Yeah.
solid.
Easy mode, bro.
Easy mode, yeah. So, and you're going to feel very, very good. When you're eating lots of carbs all the time, if you're eating rice all day, every day, what rice does is it spikes that blood sugar up really, really high, gets that energy amazing for a little bit of time, and then you're crashing down into the dumps. So by not having any sort of carbohydrates like at all, I've heard, I haven't done any carnivore diet myself, but I've heard that after multiple weeks, it gets to the point to where you're only using like this fat that you're intaking, the protein that you're intaking, because
Yep.
you're not intaking any carbs for very just like
Yeah.
sustained long term, very, very smooth energy. For vegan,
Yeah.
I mean you can already see the pros with it. You're not hurting the animals, even though the animals are going to get hurt and they're going to be turned into to meat anyway. But live your life if you're vegan. I don't want to piss you off, but carnivore it's way better than vegan. I'd say the only benefit of vegan is that you're eating more vegetables. Maybe I don't know. You're eating more like there really is not a whole lot of benefit. I might get some hate for that, but there's not a whole lot of benefits to vegan.
Yeah.
The cons though, for vegan is it's very, very difficult to get that 42,000 components which you can get from steak
Mm.
and beef. And yes, you can
Pretty
hit your
much impossible.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty much impossible to get every single thing that you can get with a vegan diet that you could get just eating carnivore or just eating like animal based diet. Basing
Yeah.
all of your meals off things that come from an animal. I would say some of the only downsides of carnivore would be your energy would be like very, very low at times, I think, especially for like workouts. Because as you've probably heard, having carbs or simple carbohydrates like honey or fruit before your workout is most optimal to create the best and most optimal position to like lift as much weight as possible, as well as after.
Mm.
Simple carbs before and after is putting yourself in the best position possible for recovery and for actual optimal workout performance. So, if you don't have any carbs in your diet at all, it's going to be very, very difficult to have that like really just next level energy. That's probably the
I'll
only downside though.
I'll disagree with that, to be honest, because okay, right now I'm in a kind of a bulking stage, right? Um, right now I'm eating like rice and beef. I'm eating like up to 150 grams of carbs per day. But when I was on that carnivore diet, bro, I would go to the gym fasted, right? And I must say that as soon as like your body's fat adapted and is using fats, it's using ketones for energy instead of carbs. Um, bro, as soon as your body turns ketogenic, it's not okay. If you want to be a professional athlete, you might need carbs. As a classic gym goer, if you train 1 to 2 hours a day, and then maybe some cardio, bro, you don't feel a difference like at all.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't get brain fog. You don't get random spikes and then lows of energy throughout the
Yeah.
day. It's stable, right? You get, but there does happen. One thing that I want to say, after like you completely deplete your body of glucose for the past couple of days, let's say on day 5, something like that, you get into the keto flu, which is basically on that day, bro. You wake up completely tired. Doesn't matter how much you slept. You get a fucking headache. You feel like a zombie. Everything feels horrible. You survive that 1 to 2 days usually, and after that, like you'll feel good again. You'll not get random spikes and dips in energy, and that's like the best thing about it. You don't get brain fog. Like my business had a really good uprise in that part, right? That was the biggest revenue I ever made, right? That time last year, but it it makes your mind clarity so much better. And it's so much, again, if you don't want to be really like an athlete, if you really like don't do multiple sports, like back then I was just bodybuilding, right? Or like I was just training, right? Now I picked up boxing as well, so it's like I kind of do eat a little bit of carbs. Even though I'm cutting, I'm still eating like 50 grams of carbs a day. But bro, if you can try carnivore for like 2 months, like you're probably gonna cut weight, but it's gonna feel so much better from the mental side. So I would definitely recommend it for a lot of people. But be ready for the keto flu because, bro, that's a nightmare, all right? So
See, and that's the one thing about fitness, right? Like for myself, yes, I could do carnivore 100%. I believe that I have the discipline 1,000%. I believe for like 99% of people, especially people who haven't started their fitness journey, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to go on carnivore. And that's
mm,
what's so interesting about fitness, that
yeah,
there's so many different points of view, so many different ways that you can come from. And that's why it's so controversial. Drinking raw milk like all these people online are doing and things like that. So controversial. Some people say, oh, it's the best thing I've ever done. Some people say, oh, you're going to get sick. And that's what's so interesting about fitness. And I feel like there's not that type of
yeah.
controversy in a lot of other places.
I'll say just fuck him, man. Honestly, do whatever you want and share what works for you. Again, um, like when you at the stage of ketosis, when your body doesn't use carbs, you feel amazing mentally, bro. Every day, like you wake up, breaked, and it feels like it's actually like your hormonal balance, your endocrine system is working well, and that's what worked for me, bro. If somebody wants to save the cows, I mean, that's fine, but for every cow you don't eat, I'll eat two. So it's like, what are you doing, bro? Right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, man. Honestly, as soon as you can start doing whatever the fuck you want without getting worried about somebody being upset at you, because the thing is, whatever you do, somebody's gonna get upset at you. Elon Musk has haters. Okay, if he has haters, anybody will. At this point, Donald Trump, the guy that's trying to save the U.S., right? He's getting haters too. It's like at this point, everybody will hate.
Oh,
Everybody will
yeah.
have hate. Everybody will disagree with something you say at any point. So when you can embrace that and accept that as an inevitability, you can start being your truest self at that point. And there's the carnivore diet, man. I don't care if somebody disagrees with that. What's This is a controversial question. What's a meal that most people think is healthy, but in fact it's like it's the most unhealthy thing in the world? Like people, it has been pushed. This is a healthy meal. This is everybody should eat this, but it's actually shit.
It's actually shit, or that it's actually not as good as it could be, because I have something in mind.
Mm. Well, pick whatever you want. Maybe it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah. So chicken, rice, and broccoli. It's that's going to be controversial, but this is backed by science. Wait, let me
Mm.
speak. Let me speak my mind. So chicken, rice, and broccoli, right? The typical bodybuilder meal. Like you can say, oh, but these guys are absolutely jacked eating chicken, rice, and broccoli multiple times a day, like 3, 4, 5 times a day, whatever. The thing with chicken, rice, and broccoli is that the only some of the only components in rice. Like rice is not the most nutrient dense food at all. It's just kind of dead carbs. At the end of the day, it's kind of dead carbs. And then chicken, it doesn't have nearly as many components, nearly as many micronutrients as say a steak or say ground beef has. So for myself, I don't eat chicken often at all. Maybe like once a week for one meal at most. Um, it just I believe that for chicken and rice and broccoli, you can get a way better option. You can get way better micronutrients, and you can get way better satiation from something like steak and potatoes.
Mm, yeah, man. And there are so many examples of this. So much stuff that people think is healthy, but it's not. Like salads. The majority of salads have fucking dressings in
Uh,
them and stuff like that. Bro, salads are not really that healthy. You know, pork, right? It's like pork is the only, like the animal with the most toxins in it, bro. Like
yeah,
pork is like so bad, and that's why in Islam they don't eat pork at all. Um, but yeah, and now the opposite to that. What's like a meal that everybody says is unhealthy, but it's actually good for you? It's actually healthy.
red meat and eggs, 100%. Red
Hundred
meat and eggs.
percent, bro.
People,
Man, I've been. Yeah, go ahead.
the government says, if you look it up online, it's like, oh, all the fat in red meat, it's gonna, clog up your blood. It's gonna make blood clots and whatnot. If you are an active human being, if you're getting steps in, if you're getting exercise in, if you are getting, weightlifting in, if your metabolism is going, that shouldn't be an issue. Say if you're 80 years old and you're not walking, you're not active that much just because your age kind of holds you back, it's going to be very, very difficult to keep your metabolism going just because of your age, and it's going to slow down because of your age. But
Mm,
people love to say like, oh, the cholesterol in eggs and red meat, and oh, it's going to clog up all this. The only like I kind of said, I only eat chicken like once a week. Everything else is steak, ground beef, or eggs. And I've felt right now, this is the highest energy I've ever had. This is the, you know, most confident I've ever been. Like, kind of going back to what you were saying, like, I get so many haters. I have so many people that tell
mm,
me I can't do this and this. Because I honestly want to say, because of my diet, partly, I'm able to carry myself in a way to where I'm like, you know, screw everybody else. I'm so locked in on what I'm doing. I don't care what anybody says.
mm. And in terms of the cholesterol thing, if you look at how testosterone is created in the human body, it is through cholesterol. You need cholesterol to produce testosterone. So it's no wonder that nowadays the average testosterone healthy is like fucking 300, 400
It's
nanograms per
crazy,
deciliter.
crazy.
Bro, like that shit is fucking crazy. Bro, our ancestors like 5,000 years ago, they had like easily 3, 4,000. Like, easy.
Not 3,000. That's inhumane, bro.
I'd say like 2 to 3,000 is realistic for them. Absolutely. Like, considering they didn't have any microplastics, they didn't have processed foods, they had tons of sunlight, they had so much healthy foods,
That's
like,
true.
all the eggs, nuts, meat, whatever. Like, with all these things, their water wasn't from tap water with fucking heavy metals, and you know that the birth control pill that women piss, that like they can't filter out hormones, so you're drinking birth control water. So when you all these things up, and however old you are, over the past 18 years of your life, you have been drinking birth control water, eating food with microplastics in it that are estrogenic, and so many other stuff that's so unhealthy, like so many endocrine disruptors in the food. Do you really think that they didn't have like a 10x more testosterone? I think that 10
True.
times is like easy.
That's fair to
Like,
say. That's fair, very fair to say.
I absolutely believe that, in my opinion. Even like our clothing, bro, polyester, bro. I'm wearing
Yeah.
fucking estrogenic fucking clothing, right? The gym shark stuff. You're sweating in plastic. Heat and plastic is a mega endocrine disruptor, right? So it dissolves the plastic in you, especially like microwaves. Like another
That
thing,
is true.
radiation from your phone in your pocket, etc. The microwaves in your food that also lowers testosterone. So many things. We all add up, all of that. It kind of makes sense
You're right.
why normal testosterone is so low nowadays.
You're very much right. Yeah.
So what's like, what would you say is the best couple of ways to increase testosterone naturally?
Lifting weights without a doubt. Lifting weights and living an active lifestyle and having the best.
Mm,
So let's say having an active lifestyle and having an optimized diet. Those are the two best things without a
mm,
doubt. Stop. A
yeah,
lot of these guys are worrying about like, drinking reverse osmosis water
yeah.
and using glass Tupperwares. It's like fix the diet first, fix the lifestyle
Mm.
first. Like get active. You're thinking about microplastics when you don't go to the gym. When
Mm.
you are playing video games rather than playing outside. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I would say that that's like step zero, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
exercising and eating healthy, right? Eating eggs, like eggs and butter, right? If you combine these two things and beef, this is like the diet that is gonna increase your testosterone. Brazil nuts, they increase your testosterone too, or any nuts for that. Cashew, macadonian, that's another way. Vitamin D, make sure to get your zinc in. Zinc, not enough zinc decrease your testosterone too.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Like in terms of like microplastics and whatnot, like just bro, if you can, just drink from a steel water bottle. Drink. Try that. Don't have your food like packaged. Don't use a microwave. Honestly, I don't have a microwave in my house. I just sell your fucking microwave. Okay, that's literally cooks the food like completely. Like it's better to eat fucking cold food or put it in the oven than in the fucking microwave. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, don't put your fucking phone in your pocket, bro. The radiation is literally cooking your balls and your sperm count.
Yep.
So your spermatogenesis is literally linked to your testosterone, and like stuff like that. But there's a whole lot of stuff, and I don't want to talk about this for fucking bore everybody with testosterone stuff, man. Because I'm kind of a nerd on this thing. But yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff, and I feel like step zero, as you said, is just living a healthy lifestyle. That's like step one. If you're not doing that, don't worry about a reverse osmosis water filter, which is useful, but don't worry about it if you're still at home, if you're still fucking 25% body fat, right? Dude, yeah,
Absolutely.
man. And speaking of body fat, bro, why do you think so many people are fat nowadays? Because, bro, if you look at it now from and 50 years ago, so many more obese people we have now, and not just in the U.S. In here in Europe too, bro. A lot of fat asses here. Why do
Yeah.
you think so many people are fat?
Yeah. So I looked it up probably like a couple months ago. It said the average or the average percentage of an obese person in the United States is around mid 40s, maybe 43%. 43%.
What the
Okay.
fuck?
And then I looked it up in 1930 and it was like less than 0.1. 0.1% of people were obese. And I
Yeah,
would
it's
say,
crazy.
I would say without a doubt, like people just have so much access to things that are holding them back. It's everything is at the tip of their fingertips. Okay. You know, 80 to 90% at least, it's got to be more. I don't know the exact percentage of food in grocery stores has, seed oils in it, has processed sugar in it.
Yeah.
Everything is bright and crazy, like in your eyes, right at you. Some of the biggest things that are holding you back are also the most like romanticized. They're so easy to access. Like,
Mm.
nowadays it's normal to watch porn. It's normal to scroll on reels. It's normal to eat processed sugar. They have the percentage on the nutrition facts of how much processed sugar they recommend. I don't even have 1% processed sugar in my day, and I feel amazing. You know, it's little things like that. Like they're giving you, oh, like this amount of percentage is okay to have, even though it's holding you back more than, a lot of you guys
Mm.
probably that are watching this. You don't have to have as serious of a lifestyle and diet as me, at least to start. But I mean, just all in all, everything is just way too normalized. It's way too easy to access. Everybody just, I think that the birth of it all could be just the screens in general, just having access to everything. But yeah,
Mm. Do you know who Hamza is?
I do. Yeah.
Bro, I found him 3 years ago, actually. Almost four. Man, ever since then, bro, if you look at it, just like that small change, like, starting listening to that person, completely, like, changed my life trajectory in terms of fitness, in terms of business, a lot of stuff. I would say, bro, like, if you put someone watching fucking Hamza and taking his advice, right? Put it 1 year after that, you'll just see such a transformation. Um, but genuinely, just finding someone who you respect, who has the credentials or has any like credit, you can see that what they're doing is working, and just learn. And now, don't just take all your information from one person, because nobody's perfect. Take your information from multiple people, and find out your own research about the human body, everything, right? And
Definitely.
even if you don't have really that much of a passion with it, learn something about your body, man. It's like it's I'd say that to every person, because you'll be amazed how much stuff you underestimated, how the importance of this. In terms of, we were speaking about gear before, I want to ask you, this is kind of a nuanced question. When is someone not natty anymore? Because some people say it's peptides make you not natty. Some people say testosterone doesn't make you natty. And all these different things like electrosol, whatever. At what point would you call someone not natty anymore?
So I know this like isn't your direct question, but kind of going back to a lot of what I said before, like, does that really matter though? Like, does calling
Mm,
somebody natty and unnatty, like, does that really affect my life? Okay, I understand your question,
mm,
but like, anything that you don't think is natural, go for it and do whatever you want. I really don't care. I want to live my healthy lifestyle, and I want to have an impact on others to live a healthy lifestyle. What you think can be natural can be natural. What you think is unnatural can be unnatural. At the end of the day, I'm so focused on myself and making an impact on others that I don't have time to say, like, oh, is David Lade natural and is he taking steroids and whatnot? Like, does that affect me? Is that going to bring me forward? It's the same thing as like even watching, TV, even watching like sports. It's fine if you do it. Go ahead and do it. If you like to, kick back for a second and do that. But for me and where I'm trying to go and the impact that I'm trying to make, it's not making me directly better. And there's no way for you to argue with that at all. You can say balance and whatnot, but even things like reading a book for entertainment. This is probably one of the most controversial things that I could ever say. Reading a book that's not making you better and bringing you up as a person, reading for pure entertainment, in my opinion, is you have a way better you have way better ways to use your time. Why not use that time of, say, reading a book, or say watching sports, or say, focusing on, is this person natural or unnatural? Focus on making yourself better. So,
yeah,
I mean, to directly answer your question, though, like I said before, do whatever you want. If you think it's unnatural, it's unnatural. If it's natural, it's natural.
that's a good way to answer that question. Honestly, that's like a unique way. Holy shit! For me personally, as soon as you start playing with your hormones, and it's something that can't really be reversed, in my opinion, that makes someone unhappy. But yeah, um, a lot of people uh, worry about what other people are doing. I catch myself doing that sometimes too. So I definitely get what you're saying. Speaking of testosterone, sleep is pretty important with testosterone. But how important sleep is, in your opinion?
It's everything. Absolutely everything. I mean, everybody knows that if you get half of the amount of sleep than you know you should, you're going to feel half as good. There is no caffeine, there
Mm.
is no dope, there's nothing that can replace a good night of sleep. The difference between a good night of sleep and a bad night of sleep, it's absolutely everything. And a lot of these guys online are like, you can't, if you're really trying to go somewhere, you need to be sleeping under 8 hours of sleep. You have to sacrifice all. I'm like, you're trying to get views at this point. Like it's a smart thing to say. And I've said, and before on my YouTube, I was like, 8 hours of sleep is BS. But I said 8 hours of sleep is BS because even if you go to sleep at 3 a.m. and you wake up at 11, rather than if you go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, it's going to be completely different in how you feel. So what I do and the way that I optimize sleep is trying to go to bed around the same time every night and trying to wake up around the same time
Mm.
every morning. So the other day, even like a couple days ago, I went to bed like an hour and a half later than I normally do. That completely ruined my day. It's crazy. So I think that if you're trying to have max productivity, again, the reverse osmosis water, the sports, whatever those controversial things I'm talking about, screw all those things. Sleep is the most important thing. Even if you're trying to, run a business, even if you're trying to become, a top 1% individual, if you're not getting sleep, whether you're working a 9 to 5, whether you have a business, whether you're going to the gym, whether you're not, if you're not getting 8 hours of sleep, you're not living up to your potential.
Okay, there's an interesting nuance to this. I would say that I do agree with you, man, because so many people they don't need to cut down on sleep. They need to cut out on Instagram reels and TikTok. They need to have better time management. That's what you need. I used to do this stupid shit that would I would sleep 4 hours and then I would sleep 4 hours in the afternoon, right? So I would split my sleep into two.
It's not how that
That was
works.
that's so fucking dumb. I split my sleep into two parts. That was the stupidest shit I ever done, man. I felt like like shit. Now I will say, also sometimes life gets in the way. You can't be really too fragile with this. There have been evenings or times when I had a real important meeting or a really big podcast or like priorities, and I had to work late, right? And I had to wake up early in the morning. So sometimes I got only 3 hours of sleep, but that happens. But don't cut out on sleep when you don't need to. That's what I agree with you. Like in your day-to-day life, you can sleep 8 and even 9 hours, 10 hours, and because 10 hours of bedtime is usually not your bedtime is not your sleep, by the way. Most people got like 70-80% sleep efficiency. You get like eight
Mm.
hours of sleep after like 10 hours of bedtime. That's like the first thing. If you buy an Aura ring, you'll see the stats on there. Now again, geeking over that shit is also not very good, because then you see on the stat, oh, so I got a bad night of sleep now. Now you believe that, and now you feel bad because of it, whereas you would have had a good day anyways, uh, if you didn't look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, you don't need to cut out on sleep. You need to cut out on the bullshit, and a lot of people just don't know how to prioritize their time and how to use their time correctly. So that's what they need to work on, not you know cut out on sleep. And speaking of sleep, how do you optimize sleep? Because a lot of people, they fall asleep with it next to their phone. They go to sleep with an empty full stomach. And how would you optimize sleep quality?
So I believe both of those things that you just said, going to sleep on a full stomach, going to sleep with your phone. I did both of those last night and I slept fine. So the thing is, it actually depends on the person. But the biggest thing is that, or my biggest problem was that I was waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, meaning that I wasn't getting my proper REM sleep, meaning that my melatonin wasn't, properly building up to set myself up as best as I could for the next day. Getting 8 hours of sleep doesn't matter if you're getting 4 and 4, like you said. It doesn't matter. Even if you're going to bed at 10, waking up at 6, but you woke up at 2, or, you woke up at 2, it doesn't matter if you're not getting the full 8 hours. So the way to optimize sleep for some people is going to be way different than others. But the biggest thing that you can do is drink the most amount of water early in the morning and then have it fall off as the day goes on, guaranteeing yourself that you don't wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. But, scrolling on your phone, eating before bed, that's going to help you 100%. It's like what we were saying before. Get to the root problem. The root problem is you sleeping 8 hours through the night. And the reason why you're waking up in the middle of the night is because you're either stressed or you drink too much water. Probably it's too much water because if you're sleeping, you're not really stressed, So,
And different people have different problems. Some people can't fall asleep. That's a
yep,
problem that I never had. I can
same.
fall asleep like a fucking baby, and I don't even need to. I don't even take magnesium. I don't even take, all that stuff. I take vitamin C to lower cortisol, but that's like the only thing. So different people have different problems. So that's why, in my opinion, if you have a problem, research it, right? Because not everybody's gonna know everything.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's why with my one-on-one, like somebody on the other day asked me a call, he reached out to me for coaching. And then the next day we had an onboarding call and we were really just talking about his biggest problem, which was sleep. He was sleeping through the night. And his problem wasn't the water, which it was for me. His problem was that he was on his phone before bed. His problem was that he wasn't active before he went to sleep. He'd finish work at like 4, 5, or 3, and then he'd just be done for the whole day. You got to be active. So what I told him is you got to be active throughout the entire night. Not throughout the entire night, but get steps in, get a workout in, make yourself actually tired. If you get home at 3 o'clock and you're sitting on your ass until 11 o'clock and watching content, you're not supposed to be tired to go to sleep. So actually do things that's going to make you actually want to fall asleep.
Yeah, especially when if you're traveling and you switch time zones, bro. That's the worst thing for sleep, man. Oh shit.
Absolutely. I went to Japan this past summer. 13-hour time difference to where I'm at. That was brutal, to say the least.
Mm. I want to get into some rapid fire questions before we wrap up.
Let's go.
Right? Yeah. Did you ever feel like quitting?
Absolutely. I remember one night in my bed, I was staring up into the ceiling. This was actually the night that I found God, and just like really, really connected to God. I looked up at the ceiling. I literally hadn't posted in weeks on social media. I was starting to be inconsistent in the gym. My diet was shit. I felt like quitting so much before I got into bed. And then when I was in bed, I actually have a video. I loved documenting myself. I love taking videos of myself to look back on times like this. I'm a big journaler. Like I got my notebook here. But
Bro.
I was looking up at the ceiling and I was like, holy shit, God is putting me through this. God is making me want to quit, to realize how important this actually is to me. So right after that day, my business literally went like this. I found God and I put my all into it because he showed me how important it actually is. But next one, let's go.
100%, bro. In terms of journaling, bro, I can relate, bro.
Oh,
I
heck
can
yeah,
relate.
man. Heck yeah.
Bro, I've been doing through. I just went through like 6 of them, bro. In the past 2 years. So yeah,
Dang.
man, journaling really helps you like get your thoughts together and understand who you truly are a lot better. Um,
100%.
but yeah, um,
100%.
do you, do you have haters? That's we know you do, but bro, if you're not doing anything, you don't have haters. But if you're doing something admirable, you're always gonna have haters. But what do your haters even say?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the time it's just like people. I mean, obviously, I have red hair, sticks out like a sore thumb, like things like that. Just including like the word ginger and whatnot. But at the end of the day, what other fitness coaches, what other people in my niche, in my space are ginger, right? I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
they're saying I'm ginger. They're saying all these comments that I'm ginger. I scroll down. Now everybody knows me for that. Now I'm different
Yeah,
than everybody else. So that, along with
that's a
just like,
fucking compliment.
yeah, I would say that's like the biggest thing that people, make fun of me for. But
Mm. Do you do you have someone that inspires you now? Maybe.
yeah, I would say John Mark Stevenson for sure. Um,
JMS. Yeah, yeah.
Big, just like mindset motivation guy.
Mm.
In terms of just like systems for my business, and because motivation can only do so much, and everybody knows this, but I don't care how many motivation videos you listen to, a system and an actual like actionable step that you can take is always going to outdo any motivation ever. And that's the same thing with anybody who's trying to get into fitness. An actionable step is always going to be better than taking in all the information and taking in all the motivation. It's like, yes, I'm going to start. Today's going to be the day, rather than just fucking going to the gym. Right. So
Mm.
John Mark Stevenson, huge inspiration for me, because I saw him go from like literally nothing to literally being like a multi millionaire. I followed him since literally like a couple thousand subscribers. So
Mm.
cool to see from him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, JMS is someone that I'd love to speak to one day, man. Um, for me, it was Wade Houston, to be honest.
Ah,
They
nice.
did the podcast together. Wade is someone that I also very much respect. What's the best advice you've been given?
The best advice I've been given. It's never going to be, nothing worth having is ever going to come easy, and nothing worth having is worth having because it's not like respectable. Anything worth having is going to be respectable, and that's why it's so difficult to obtain.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's coming across clear, but like anything worth having is going to be respectable, and that's why it's worth having. That's a better way to say it.
Mm.
Anything worth having and worth obtaining is worth obtaining because it's so difficult to obtain. So nothing worth having is ever going to come easy, I would say.
What's the worst advice you've been given? Like somebody giving you bad advice?
Sorry, these are tough questions. um,
Because there's so much, man.
there's so many lines and things that you can say. Um, the worst advice that I've ever been given is it's probably just not having like a clear cut path. It's always trying to find the next new, rush of dopamine, the next new best way of finding things. I believe that having one clear cut, finalized path, you can change that path whenever you want, but having one path rather than trying to find the perfect path first is the best thing that you can do.
Mm. Oh, this is also going to be a little tough question. But what are 10 exercises, if you could only do 10, to maintain your physique or grow your physique? If you could only do 10 of them
Yeah.
to hit every muscle group.
Squat. Oh shit, this is tough. Squat, pull up, incline, dumbbell bench press, curls, lateral raises. This is tough. Uh, Maybe like a deadlift or a Romanian deadlift.
Mm.
Tricep push down, rear delt, fly,
Mm.
crunch for abs, and then a last one. Trying to think of all the muscles, man. It's tough.
Mm.
What,
You
what would be,
forgot to.
did I?
Calves and traps.
Oh, calf raises. You don't need traps. If you got pull ups, if you got rows, If you got lateral raises as
Well,
well,
if you're doing lateral raises with bad form, you can hit the traps anyways.
true.
Yeah, man. Or deadlift also like hits traps, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually facts. I heard somewhere that it was no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, you're gonna hit traps on lateral raises just because of like the way that your skeletal muscles move. There's no way to make it only on your side delt.
No, because if you're bent over, then you're only using the lance if you're bent over. Now, if you're standing, you're gonna use the traps, but bent over, you're actually not. How often do you train a week nowadays?
I would say 5 days a week consistently.
Mm,
I'm one of those guys that just like does not miss a gym session.
mm,
You know, I a lot of the people that I work with, I'm like, okay, if you can go to the gym 2 or 3 days a week guaranteed, I'll take that. You can get just as much results. But I love the gym so much. I love how it makes me feel so much to the point to where I'm just like, I want to go, but at the same time, I want to get my optimal rest. Running a
yeah.
business that I work on and I think about literally all day long, I want to make sure that I have a lot of time for that as well.
And also, if you're training 7 days a week like I used to, you're gonna have so much cortisol in your body that it's gonna hinder your testosterone, and then recovery is gonna be bad. Even if you hit a different muscle group that day, you're gonna flood your body with cortisol, and if you're not
Yeah.
on gear, that's gonna lower your test quite a lot.
Yeah.
How do you have a favorite quote?
The depth of your struggle determines the height of your success.
Holy shit, that's a good one.
Because
What
nothing,
was the proudest moment in your life?
the proudest moment in my life, I would say two things are pretty proud. Um, sorry, I want to make this good. I would say my first $10,000 a month with online fitness coaching was the proudest moment of my life, just because years and years of going to the gym and finally finding something that I was actually passionate about, because everything in my life before with sports and in school, I was so forced to do all these things that I just didn't like to do. And nobody made that money for me. Nobody chose me to go to the gym. Nobody told me that I had to be consistent and I had to do this and I had to not listen to all the hate and go forward with what I wanted to go forward. But I chose to be consistent in the gym because I wanted the results, and I chose to open my business, and I chose to impact others' lives. And I finally hit that benchmark of saying like, holy shit, like
Yeah,
I actually did it. Like I actually, you know,
yeah,
made it. And
yeah,
I see the
bro.
potential of it.
People go to colleges to get 200K in debt to make 90K a year. You at 18 make 120K a year, um, with something that you love, bro. That's that's like something to actually commend you about, because, bro, that's like a big accomplishment that a lot of people in their 40s will say it's unrealistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, mm, I hate the word realistic, to be honest.
Same.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned in the last year?
If you don't wake up every day and have a clear cut purpose and enjoy that purpose and have again, just having something that you need and want to achieve, it's not even worth doing to begin with. If you don't have a clear cut goal with going to the gym, if you don't have a clear cut goal with fixing your diet, with working on your business, with, helping others with my fitness coaching business, it's just not worth doing because I'm not going to be able to have a future with it. It's the same thing with like, having a fitness coaching business and not getting results. Yeah, I'm making all this money. It's awesome, but it's a scam if I'm not making that entire life transformation.
Mm, yeah, man. What's next for you, man?
Next is just to continue doing what I'm doing. I wake up every single day and I enjoy what I do. Like I did not by any means have to come on this call, but I love what I do so much. I wanted to share it to others. I wanted to, do something for you that's going to help you out as well. I like to talk about what I love to do. So this doesn't feel like work to me. Having, you know, 8 hours straight at a desk on calls, building out programs doesn't feel like work to me because I'm impacting other people's lives so
Mm.
much. And there is no better feeling in this entire world than having knowledge that you've been through and you've changed in your own life and being able to impact somebody else with that knowledge and that experience that you've built.
Absolutely, man. So where can people find you, man?
People can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. My name is Gavin Eunice, not Yunes, not Yunez.
I thought that too, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, no, it's been a thing my whole life. But hey, it's just like the red hair. It's just like it's one of those things that just kind of make you stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Guys, thanks a lot for watching till the end, and
This was
yeah,
awesome, man.
we'll see you all on the next one.
Peace.
Holy shit.